Welcome back to the Embers Archive. Tonight, we journey deep into a mountain of living crystal. It is a story of a hidden light, a cursed guardian, and a love that could shatter stone. The kingdom of Crystallia drew its very life from the great mountain, a magnificent peak of luminous, magic-infused crystal. But for generations, the mountain had been falling silent. Its inner light was dimming, its warmth fading into a deep, pervasive cold. Dark fractures, like grasping veins, spread across its surface, threatening to plunge Crystallia into an endless, biting winter. Elara, a young and gifted gem carver, felt the mountain's sickness in her own bones. She possessed a rare and powerful sensitivity, an ability to hear the resonant song that hummed within every crystal. But lately, that beautiful song had twisted into a painful, discordant tremor that echoed her people's growing fear. Driven by this connection, she delved into forbidden texts, discovering legends of the mountainous Harda sentient core Cristo that acted as the source of all its power. The texts also spoke of a guardian, eternally bound to protect it. Most importantly, they revealed that only a heart singer, someone like Elara, could reach the core and reawaken its fading song. Her journey into the mountain was treacherous. The once gleaming crystal paths were now fractured and dark, the silence heavy and oppressive. She followed the faint, agonizing hum of the dying heart, navigating treacherous chasms and unstable formations. Finally, she reached the entrance to the core chamber. Blocking her path was a figure who seemed carved from dark, unyielding quartz, his eyes glowing with a chilling, internal light. This was Kael, the Guardian. None may enter. His voice rumbled, deep and resonant, like stones grinding together. The heart sleeps. Leave, mortal, before the cold consumes you. But Elara stood her ground, her voice clear and determined. I am Elara, a heart singer. The mountain is dying because the heart is weeping. I can hear it. I have come to help. He scoffed, a sound devoid of warmth. Raising a hand, he willed black ice shards to form in the air, sharp and menacing. But instead of flinching, Elara closed her eyes. She focused on the tremor within and hummed a single, pure note. It wasn't loud, but it resonated perfectly with the mountain's own pained song. The effect was immediate. Kael staggered back as if struck, the ice shards dissolving into mist. Disbelief warred with shock on his stony face. You can truly hear it, he asked, his voice losing its edge. Yes, she replied softly, and I feel your pain is entwined with its own. Please, let me try. Reluctantly, Kael led her into the core chamber. The sight within stole her breath. At the center lay the Heartstone, a crystal of immense size that should have blazed with light. Instead, its glow was choked, smothered by a creeping shell of shadow quartz that grew from its surface like a disease. Kael explained the ancient curse. Generations ago, his ancestor, the first guardian, had trapped a powerful shadowy entity within the heart to contain its destructive force. The ritual had bound his bloodline to the prison, and with each passing year, the growing corruption slowly crystallized the acting guardian, turning them into a living part of the cage. Seeing the truth, they began to work together. Elara's resonant song soothed the agonized Heartstone, weakening the shadow shell and revealing its fragile points. Following her guidance, Kael used his power to manipulate the surrounding crystal, chipping away at the darkness. As they toiled, a fragile trust bloomed. She began to see the weary, noble soul trapped beneath his harsh, crystalline exterior. He, in turn, found himself drawn to her vibrant warmth, a stark contrast to the creeping cold that defined his existence. During one delicate maneuver, shadow tendrils lashed out from the hearts, aiming directly for Elara. Without a moment's hesitation, Kael threw himself in front of her, taking the crystalline fractures spiderwebbed across his arm, the dark corruption spreading rapidly through his body. He gasped, his form hardening. Elara rushed to his side. She placed her hands on his corrupted skin and began to hum her resonant song, not at the heart, but into him, pushing warmth and life back into the encroaching stone and easing his agony. In that moment, he looked at her not as a guardian, but as a man. They soon realized that chipping away at the shell from the outside was not enough. It had to be shattered from within. Elara would need to pour her life song directly into the Heartstone itself, an act of pure resonance that could very well prove fatal. Kael refused outright. No, he commanded, his voice strained. It will kill you. It is resonance, not sacrifice, Elara insisted, meeting his gaze with unwavering resolve. Trust me. She placed her hands on the cold surface of the Heartstone and began to sing. It was not a single note, but a complex, soaring melody of pure life and creation. The Heartstone responded, its inner light flaring, and the shadow shell began to crack under the strain. But the entity trapped within fought back, pouring a wave of corrupting cold directly into Elara. Her song faltered, her life force draining away. Seeing her light begin to fade, Kael made his choice. He placed his crystalline hands beside hers on the hearts. With a defiant roar, he absorbed the brunt of the entity's final, desperate attack, pulling the killing cold into himself. Dark crystal erupted across his body, engulfing him completely, but his sacrifice gave Elara the single moment she needed. With one final, triumphant note, she poured all of her remaining light and will into the heart. A blinding flash of pure energy erupted from the core, shattering the chamber's darkness. The shadow shell disintegrated, and the malevolent entity within vanished into nothingness. The Heartstone pulsed, whole and vibrant, flooding the great mountain with a wave of warmth and brilliant light. Elara collapsed, exhausted but alive. Her gaze fell upon Kael. He stood frozen, a silent statue encased in dark, lifeless crystal, heartbroken. She stumbled to him and gently touched his cheek, humming a mournful, quiet song of grief. And then, a miracle! Where her fingers touched, the dark crystal began to recede. Color returned to his form. His stone skin softened, his eyes fluttered open, no longer cold and glowing, but warm, brown, and human. The curse was broken. They returned from the mountain not as guardian and heartsinger, but as partners. The mountain's light blazed anew, driving back the endless winter, and the kingdom of Crystallia began to heal. Standing together on a high crystal overlook, Elara looked at the man beside her. "I heard the mountain's song," she said softly, "but it was your heart that answered." Kael, his voice now gentle and human, took her hand. "My heart was stone, Elara," he replied, "until your song taught it how to feel again." He drew her close, and in the restored light of the mountain, the long, cold silence was finally broken, replaced by a new and perfect harmony that only they understood. Love, they had proven, was stronger than any curse, a resonance that could mend even the most fractured heart. And in the heart of the archive, their enduring story was preserved, an echo for all time. Thank you for joining us at the Embers Archive. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing for more tales from the Embers of history. We'll see you next time.